Hey everyone, Lucky here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys my Week 9 Team Builder and battle versus the Warsaw Rapidash. Now, last week we did end up losing a close 1-0 game due to some unfortunate bad luck about rolls and paralysis, um, but that didn't really have much of an effect on our overall playoff standing as um, that loss, we didn't lose anything tiebreaker wise, and as long as we end up winning this week, we're going to have playoffs clinched because that will put Warsaw at 6 losses, and everyone else, I believe, will have 6 losses. Actually, the Collingwood Corver Knights could only have 5 losses if they win this week, although the battle hasn't taken place. However, we have the tiebreaker against them anyways. And so if I win this week, then even if the worst I could do is 7-5, and even if we're both tied, I'll end up having the tiebreaker and get the higher seed. So with that being said, this is a very important matchup. Hopefully winning it, we can go ahead and clinch our spot in playoffs. So with that, I will be getting into the teams. So this week, the Warsaw Rapidash has a team of Mega Charizard X, Thundy T, Galarian Zapdos, Scizor, Amoonguss, Inteleon, Slowking, Blissey, Mudsdale, Scrafty, and Colossal. And so a couple things I'm noticing about his team right off the bat. This is a very bulky team, and it's also fairly slow outside of Inteleon. So both of those things are something that I could potentially take advantage of, as well as the fact that he doesn't have the best hazard removal, as he only has Scizor and Thundy T, although Thundy T doesn't really want to be a defogger. In addition, this team in general is very weak to Garchomp because it outspeeds everything on the team besides Inteleon. So that's something to keep in mind. Offensive threats I'm worried about him bringing is the Galarian Zapdos is a threat. Charizard X obviously hits really hard and can be a pain if it starts setting up the Dragon Dances, and the Thundy T hits really hard and is one of the few things that can deal with Corviknight well. Defensive pains to get through. Granted, his whole team is pretty bulky, but the main things are Slowking, the slow twins, I guess, are a pain throughout, pain in the ass for me this time. So yeah, we'll see. And then he also has Amoonguss, so that's a fun regenerator core to deal with. Then he has Blissey, which can deal with any of my special attackers, and they could do almost nothing to Blissey. And then Mudsdale, which is there, which deals with any of my physical attackers, specifically Garchomp and Lycanroc, and Tapu Koko. It deals with all of those. So what I expect him to bring. So I'm pretty sure, or I'm almost certain that Galarian Zapdos, Thundurus, and Mudsdale are coming. Galarian Zapdos and Thundy are basically his biggest offensive threats. And Mudsdale, I think, is just coming because it matches up so well against my team. Probable, I think Inteleon's coming just because it's his fastest threat. I do think Scizor's coming, and I think Amoonguss and Slowking could also come. Now, you've noticed that I have 7 Mons total between the coming and probable. That's because obviously they all can't come, but I could really see them all coming, and I'm prepping a lot for all 7 of those. And then possible, I've also put some prep in towards Blissey, just because that thing could be annoying for my special attackers, and also Charizard X could be annoying if it starts setting up, but I do have some answers to that as well. So with that being said, let's get into the team I'm bringing. So first off is my Garchomp, and it is one of my main win conditions for this week, with Swords Dance, Earthquake, Scale Shot, and Stealth Rock. Rocks is there just to try to get them up and have some chip, and I don't think I really need the third move like Stone Edge would be nice, but really the only thing Stone Edge is hitting is that Earthquake can't, is the Thunderous, and even then, the Thunderous is, as long as I get 3 hits and Scale Shot, especially with the Dragon Fang to boost Dragon moves, I should be able to do pretty well with Garchomp and Scale Shot. So if I could get a Swords Dance and Scale Shot up, he's in for a rough time. So my second win condition that I could potentially do this week is Choice Banded Lycanroc with enough speed to outspeed his Thundy, even though Banded Excel Rock is almost an OHKO on its own. So I have Excel Rock, which does really well against his team. Stone Edge, Rock is a good type against his team in general. The only things that resist Rock are, I believe, just the Mudsdale. And so, and the Scrafty. And so for the Mudsdale, I have Toxic. And for the Scrafty, if he potentially brings it, I have Play Rough. In addition, Play Rough will also hit the Galarian Zapdos a little bit harder. So those are my 2 main win conditions for this week. Next up we have Suicune, which is Scald, Ice Beam, Toxic, and Roar. Roar is the somewhat odd move this week, and that's mostly there just in case like Charizard starts getting too out of hand. I could take a hit and roar it out if it's too set up, hopefully, because that's what the max defense is for. Special attack rise, that's there to 2-hit KO a Thundy T, and I can live 1 Thunderbolt from it from full. So while the situation probably won't come up, those extra special attack EVs aren't that big of a deal. Then we have Corviknight this week with the Wakan Berry and the setup set with Brave Bird, Bulk Up, Taunt, and Roost. I only have Brave Bird as an attacking move because it hits the majority of his team. The only thing that resists it is Colossal, which I don't necessarily think he's going to bring, and the Thundy T, which if I set up enough, can still do a decent amount of damage to it, and that's why I have the Wakan Berry, is so that I could live a Thunderbolt and potentially hit back with a Brave Bird. So next up we have Choice Scarf, Tapu Koko again, and the reason I'm running this is just I wanted to have something to make sure that I could outrun Scarf Inteleon if he brought it. I was talking with Nolan this week, and he was saying that when he played a Warsaw, the one thing that Warsaw regretted not bringing was a Scarf Inteleon, which against my team is somewhat similar in that I remember from their match that Nolan's Garchomp, Mega Garchomp, he didn't Mega it, so he kept the speed, and that gave Warsaw a lot of problems once it got to +1 speed. So I'm thinking that Inteleon could potentially be an answer to that, so I wanted to make sure to have something to outspeed it. And Thunderbolt, Dazzling Gleam there for stab. I thought about physical, but then I couldn't really touch Thundy T that much, and I know he's run Bulk Up Galarian Zapdos in the past, which could be an issue. And then Grass Knot is there for the Mudsdale. And then last up, making his first appearance of the season, we have an Assault Vest, Mr. Rhyme running Psyshock, Freeze Dry, Rapid Spin, and Ice Shard. So this amount and Modest Nature, or Mild Nature, I forget what that does. It was supposed to be Modest, I think. Oh no, Mild is minus defense plus special attack. So I wanted the most damage possible. Mr. Rhyme isn't taking a physical hit anyways, and this that allows me to run Ice Shard, which is just there to pick off either the Thundy T or the Galarian Zapdos if needed. Then I have Psyshock, mostly there for the Blissey rather than Psykick, and then Freeze Dry hits the rest of his team pretty hard, and then I have Rapid Spin on there, both for moving hazards, but it's mostly there for the speed boost, and that's what the 184 speed EVs are for, is that if I get up a Rapid Spin boost, I'm then able to outspeed Thundy T at +1. So that's the team for this week, and we will be getting into the battle. So, getting into the battle this week, you can see that Warsaw brought a team of Mega Charizard, Thundy T, Scizor, Slowking, Amoonguss, and Inteleon. So he did bring the Regen Core, and he brought the Mega Charizard X. No Mudsdale, which I'm surprised about, so Grass Knot on Coco is useless. Brave Bird may have been more useful. And also no Galarian Zapdos. And so Corviknight, especially if I can get rid of the Thundy T, is looking real nice with its bulk up set. So I'm going to lead Tapu Koko here, just expecting that maybe he's going to lead Inteleon, and most stuff that he leads I could potentially pivot out with U-turn. So he leads the Scizor. Now I'm thinking he might go for the Bullet Punch, but even if it's banded, Bullet Punch I could live. I'm just going to go ahead and U-turn out here. I actually expect him to switch, as Thunderbolt would do a lot of damage. And thinking maybe he's going to try to go into the Thundy T or the Amoonguss or something that can take that Thunderbolt. As he decides to stay in, and I see he's staying in, and because of that, I expect him to just be going to U-turn, so I'm going to switch into my Garchomp here to try to get a little bit of Rough Skin chip, which is exactly what happens as he goes into Inteleon. Now here, I'm switching out. I know he's going for something that could do damage. So this was actually a bit of a misclick. I meant to just click straight into Suicune, but that's fine. I'm just going to go ahead and switch into Suicune here. So that's what I do. Switch into Suicune. So he goes for the Scald. Doesn't do much damage at all. So here I'm going to go for the Ice Beam as he U-turns out. And this is predicting the Amoonguss to come in just to get some damage, because Suicune can't really do much to that. As he goes into the Slowking. Now here I'm just going to predict the Slowking to stay in and get a Toxic off on it, which will be huge. So I'm going to click Toxic as he tries to click Yawn, but that doesn't work in electric terrain. So knowing that he can't really do anything to touch the Suicune, I'm going to go ahead and switch to Mr. Rime here, which with Salt Vest I know can take anything the Slowking throws at me, as it does a feature sight. Now here I'm just going to click Freeze Bite to try to get damage off as he goes for the Yawn. Now here I'm predicting him to switch out anyways to try to save the Slowking. But either way, I have to switch out because I don't want Mr. Rime to fall asleep. So I'm going to switch out here. So I go into the Corviknight as he switches out into the Scizor, and that makes it's a pretty good play. And I tank the future sight attack. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and Roost up as he U-turns out into the Thundy T, which is what I predicted. And so I'm going to switch out into the Garchomp to take potentially any hit that he could throw at me, because I think he's going to go for the electric move as he doubles into Slowking. So Slowking doesn't have a great physical defense, and I really wanted to click the Scale Shot here, but two Scale Shots wasn't a guaranteed kill, and I was still worried about an Ice Beam at this point, and I didn't want to lose my Garchomp. So I just clicked Earthquake, which seemed pretty safe, as it does a huge chunk to the Scizor. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Earthquake again. No, Stealth Rocks here, because Stealth Rocks are very important. Because they deal with the Charizard X on switch in, potentially it's a Thundy T. Stealth Rocks will just be good for this game. So here, once again, I'm not sure if I kill with Earthquake, so I go ahead and switch out. Here I'm going to have to switch out again and go into the Tapu Koko because that way that the Slowking can't put things to sleep. And so here I figure that Scizor is probably going to try to defog, and it's his main defogger, so I'm going to make sure that Scizor can't defog up. If he goes into Sundy T to take the Thunderbolt and heal up health, so be it. But I just want to try to keep him from getting a defog here. So I just click Thunderbolt as he goes to Amoonguss. Now I know with the electric terrain that he cannot put anything to sleep, so I just go into the Mr. Rhyme. Now I know I can take this because I'm Assault Vest and Freeze Dry, and that's an OHKO on Thundurus, which is super good because now Corviknight is really good against the team. Nothing can take it out in one hit if I start bulking up. Now here I make a little bit of a misplay because I go for Freeze Dry to just get damage off because I predict him to defog as he goes for the Roost. And so I see that's not doing much of anything, so I just go back into Corviknight as he tries to kill the Bullet Punch here. And now this turn, as I bulk up, is when he defogs. So those rocks being out of the way, not the best. Here I go for a bulk up again as he U-turns out into the Amoonguss. Now here I'm going to predict him to go for the Spore as I haven't revealed the taunt yet, and that's what I do, and this Amoonguss cannot touch Corviknight. So that just gives me a free bulk up again. Here with the Slowking, I am predicting him to go for Yawn, so I taunt and make sure he can't do that. So he deals damage. Now, this is a bit of a misplay as I Roost to try to get up to as much full health as possible. So he goes for Scald, and I get burned. That's unfortunate. I probably should have just gone for the Brave Bird there and possibly won the game. But overall here, I'm going to go for the Brave Bird, as that doesn't do a lot. So he reveals his Rocky Helmet, and the Toxic brings him down. So here I'm in versus Charizard, and I'm just, as he Dragon Dances, I'm just going to click Roost to get up to full health. Now, I'm just going to click Brave Bird to try to get damage off this, because I think he's probably going to hit me at some point, and I think I could live, but he does not do that, and he keeps setting up Dragon Dance. So here I click Brave Bird again, as he Dragon Dances again, and get the crit and kill it. So that crit is big because he's also said he had Roost, and so he would have been able to get up to decent health. However, I also had Taunt, and I had Abandoned Lycanroc, and so at some point I would have clicked Taunt to make sure he couldn't Roost up. He would have been, after that Dragon Dance there, he would have been at pretty low health even without the crit, and then the next turn I would have clicked Taunt. So even if he Roosted, he would have been just above 50%. He would have to take me out with a Fire move, and then Lycanroc would come in and revenge with Excel Rock anyways. So it really didn't matter much, especially since here Inteleon's going to come in and kill. I thought I could live because I'm pretty specially bulky, didn't do the calcs, which unfortunately now leaves me open to Amoonguss potentially being a problem. Here I'm just going to U-turn because I expect him to switch out into Amoonguss, as he actually stays in. I'm surprised about. However, Suicune is a pretty safe switch in, and now he does switch out to Amoonguss. So I am just going to Ice Beam and see how much I can take from it as he Giga Drains and gets that health right back. So predicting the Giga Drain, I go into Garchomp as he gets the Sludge Bomb. Doesn't do much, but gets the first turn poison, which is going to be a big deal because, as you can see here, that would have been a 2-hit KO on Amoonguss. However, I'm going to get one more attack and then die here. So without the poison, maybe Scizor can come in and Bullet Punch me, but I could also switch into Suicune, which is a pretty safe switch in, and Garchomp would still be alive. So here I'm going to go to Tapu Koko, and as he bullet punches, I'm just going to click Thunderbolt to kill it. And the electric trains up. So here he goes with the Moongus. I go into the Mr. Rime because I know I could take anything he hits, and he gets the poison again. So at this point, I'm getting really frustrated because the crit helped me out a bit, but I'm like, okay, so my two main things that could potentially deal with a Moongus have gotten first turned poisoned by Sludge Bomb and worn down quickly. So I'm getting really frustrated, thinking I might potentially lose this game again, just like last week, because of some poor luck on my part. So here I'm going to go ahead and just click the Side Shot, because that's what hits Amoongus the hardest. And I kill the Inteleon as Mr. Rime goes down. So Amoongus comes in. Here I go to Tapu Koko. I just get some damage on, force him to go for Sludge Bomb. Just get a little bit of damage. And it's up to Lycanroc to hit Stone Edge. So I hit the first one, doesn't quite kill. However, with the amount of bulk I had, I don't know if I had no bulk if he would have been able to live kill. But with the amount of bulk, I do live. And now it just comes down to, can I hit the second Stone Edge? And I can. So we end up taking a 2-0 victory, and with that we clinch our spot in playoffs. So good game to the Warsaw Rapidash. It was a little bit hexy on both ends. I know he was a little bit salty after the game about the crit on Charizard, but I don't think it would have mattered in the scheme of things, and he almost got some good luck to bring it back to his case. I don't think if he got if he didn't get the 2 poisons, I think it would have been a completely different situation. Like if he didn't get for instance, if he didn't get the poison, especially on Mr. Rime probably would have cleaned up, and I wouldn't have to worry about, is Lycanroc going to hit 2 Stone Edges in a row. So, good game. We are now clinched for playoffs, and so the next couple weeks, I am probably going to bring some fun sets. Now, I am still going to try to win, because I know it for that 4th spot in Brawn Division, it is a bit of a battle down at the end to try to claim that last spot. And if I just completely memed out and didn't try to win it all, just what's the most fun, that wouldn't necessarily be fair to like the other people that are fighting against JK and Zycofool in my division to try to get the last playoff spot if I'm just going out and giving them free wins. So while I am going to try to win, I might run some fun sets and also run some sets that I don't know, that aren't necessarily the best team out there, because I don't want to reveal too much for playoffs, because there is still a chance that I could play, well, there's a slight chance I could play one of either Zycofool or JK in the first round of playoffs, depending on, Nolan would have to lose a game to one of those two and then lose to me. And if that's the case, I think I will have the number 1 seed versus based on, if I win out, based on better division record, and also I have the head-to-head tiebreaker over T4U, so I'd get the number 1 seed and potentially play one of these teams first round. And so I don't want to reveal all of my strategies in case of a possible playoff matchup. And also, even if I get the 2 or 3 seed, which is probably likely, most likely my playoff matchup will be a rematch versus the Boston Red Sox. If I end up winning that matchup and one of either JK or Zycofool, if they decide to make, or if they end up making playoffs, one of them, if they are able to beat Nolan in the number 1 slot and I win, then I'll potentially play them again. So fun sets the next week, but still trying to win and try not to reveal too much. So really excited to make playoffs this season, especially with the competition this season in WPF. There really were no easy wins, no free wins. So just making playoffs is a a good thing all on its own. And Suicune got another kill without dying. So Suicune watch, I believe it's up to 17-2 now, plus 15. So Suicune MVP watch continues. So with that, I will see you guys next week for the first of my battles that don't really matter.